These my dance make it hurt.
Hello and welcome to Project Passion, the podcast made to inspire you to follow your passion and turn it into a successful business or career. So as you've seen, guys, we had a little bit of a weird couple of weeks with me moving house, trying to get everything set again. We ended up missing a couple of episodes. But we're back on track now, back in the new house. As you'll see from the backdrop, it's a lot better than it was for the last 14 episodes in 3 months. But moved house, this is the new studio office space. But as you'll have seen, there's a vlog coming out on this at some point on my YouTube, and then after that there'll also be a house tour or apartment tour to be more exact. But on with the show, this week to kick it back off again, I wanted a good one. So we were joined by fellow marketer and the founder and CEO of Clickscope, Sam Darcy. How is it going, man? How you doing?
Wicked, man. Yeah, awesome. I'm glad we actually managed to get this sorted. Finally, we've been rescheduling and stuff. I think we've both been mad busy, especially with you moving house and stuff. But yeah, gas for today, man. Hopefully drop a load of value for people out there. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Nice one, man. So obviously, as you say, this is going to be super valuable for people anyway, but do you want to just kind of start off, introduce yourself for any of the non-marketers don't know who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think shortly I'll go way back to, my past and stuff, but just at the moment, I basically started up my own digital marketing agency. It was actually last year I started, but I didn't really do anything. I was working full time, just super burnt out. I wasn't really spending any time on the actual business. And then this year, I really realized that, I need to do this. I think I've always kind of had that entrepreneurial mind, and I was kind of sick of working for other people. So basically this year, just took a massive risk. Don't advise this to anyone out there, but just in order to kind of force myself to focus on my business and get things going, I just quit my job basically. And this was right at the start of the pandemic. So it's a bit of a, but it was a huge fucking risk on my side. But yeah, quit my job, which, yeah, like I said, big risk. If I hadn't have made it work out, things could have gone really badly wrong in terms of me getting in debt and things like that. But anyway, luckily I managed to replace my work wage in just under 30 days, and we just hit 6 figures the other day, and we did all of that in just over 6 months during the pandemic as well. Like, we're still in obviously we're both in the UK, still in the middle of the whole COVID situation. So yeah, it's just been absolutely nuts, man. And yeah, before that, I was working a variety of like digital marketing jobs, but we can go into that shortly. But that's just kind of a brief intro on me.
Sick. Yeah, and there's a couple of things I do want to touch on there anyway.
Yeah.
But obviously your agency, Clickscope, do you want to just kind of tell people what it is you do, what you're getting up to recently?
Yeah, 100%, man. So yeah, Clickscope's just a digital marketing agency. So we basically just help clients across the world grow, mainly using online strategies. So SEO, Google Ads, paid social ads, just to name a few strategies, basically. Work with quite a range of niches at the moment: real estate, e-commerce, education, and yeah, that's kind of what we do.
Nice. So as you said, we are going to kind of touch back into how you got started and sort of the more origin story, because as I think everyone who does market knows, all marketers have wicked backstories. Somehow we all have really good backstories and really good origin stories. So you want to just kind of kick it off, kind of just tell people what it is.
Yeah, sure. So I'm literally like a proper average Joe. I went to sixth form. I dropped out after like 4 months. I just didn't. When I was younger, I just had no idea what I wanted to do in my life. I'm 27 now, and yeah, basically just dropped out of sixth form. I was kind of hanging around with the wrong crowd. I was just, what I mean. I pretty much went to sixth form for the whole party lifestyle. Decided it wasn't for me. I think purely just because I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life, and university just did not seem appealing to me. I think a lot of my friends have always been a bit older than me, and I saw a lot of people who dropped out of uni and kind of wasted a couple of years there. So I think straight away I knew university wasn't for me. However, I did find that was a bit of a struggle. I think with my grandparents and my parents, there was that whole stigma around you have to go to university to be successful. And I think I did have that pressure on me, but I ignored that anyway. Dropped out of sixth form, basically just worked at like Tesco's warehouses for years and years. And yeah, I think it was when I was about 2021, I think life really kind of slapped me around the face, and I thought, look, I need to sort my shit out. Basically, I need to do something that I'm going to enjoy, you know what I mean, build some sort of career and get going. Because I was just working these kind of, nothing wrong with these jobs at all, but I was not fulfilled in them. They're kind of just dead end jobs.
Yeah.
I was going to work, being surrounded by people that just looked depressed, and it was just absolutely killing me. So I think I just decided I really needed to sort things out. And that's where I decided to get back into, well, not back into digital marketing. ICT was basically something that I really enjoyed at school. So working on computers. And luckily for me, I found an apprenticeship. It was with a graphic design company in my local city. Awful apprenticeship. It was dreadful in terms of the training they provided. But I basically just dived headfirst into SEO and just was basically teaching myself digital marketing. And from there, just basically jumped about jobs, went like evolved into a digital marketing exec, and then worked at a few more companies and mainly just some other digital marketing agencies, which was great. That was where I really kind of evolved my skills. But I just still found it unfulfilling. I was sick of working 9 to 5 and having that strict kind of work routine, and some of the jobs I was working at was miles away as well, so I was driving the whole time, and just super burnt out. And that's when I decided to take the leap into the kind of entrepreneurial space. That's kind of whizzed through my past there in terms of the job and college and stuff.
Something I just want to touch on what you said there about, and kind of it'll make sense in the sort of grand scheme as well, is you obviously started your agency this year around January time or earlier.
So I actually started my agency last year, but when I say started, literally all I did was register the company name, and I just faffed about building a website. So I didn't really actually get started till this March. So March 2020 was when I actually kind of dived straight into things. That was when I actually quit my job. Yeah.
Right. So this is kind of the difference between me and you as well, because obviously you started in March properly, as you say. I would have said I went properly in January. So it's quite similar there, quite similar in the fact that you covered your work wage within 30 days. I did that as well, quit my job within a month, starting my agency. Same, as you said, like it's terrifying, but yeah, just have to do it. But the difference I see is where you've managed to hit 6 figures already. I ain't hit fucking 6 figures, bro. but I don't care. Do you know what I mean? I don't give a shit. I mean, I messaged you on the day, and then I commented on the thing, and I shared it, and like, props to you, man, for doing it. Like that's the dream. That's what we're all trying to do. So I'm happier to see you do it than to not. But what I mean is in just terms of the experience. So obviously you've had so many more years of the experience of learning these things. And I think social media and social media marketing really is experience. Like if the more years you do it, the better you're going to be, and the quicker you can then accelerate. Like where you were slow, and then when you actually put your foot in the gas, you managed to accelerate it a lot faster. And I think it is just experience, my opinion.
Yeah, it's a weird one. So like I know people have gone to university and studied digital marketing. They've done a 3-4 year course, come out and struggled to get a job. This is the thing with digital marketing. I think it is good to have experience. And I think, compared to the other agency owners out there, I probably have been doing digital marketing a lot longer than some of them. However, digital marketing changes so much. The stuff I learned when I started is irrelevant now. So I think I think the experience I have, all it really does is benefits like my confidence with selling the services, and I guess just knowing how some of them work in a bit more detail. I think ultimately the industry changes so quickly that, it's better to kind of have fresh knowledge and kind of know what's going on at that time. Because like I said, strategies that I learned years ago won't even be effective, or people won't even do them nowadays. So completely agree with you. I think experience is definitely better than having a qualification, but definitely in the digital marketing side of things. And to be honest, I mean, we can go into a whole nother chat on this. I think with most industries, people do look at experience over qualifications now. But yeah, university, I think that's probably one of the worst ways to go about learning digital marketing. Because I think by the time you finish your course, all the strategies have changed and there's new kind of platforms and things that are out. And I don't think you do need a lot of experience to do well in the industry. I think you just got to have a passion for it. But I think where it benefited me was just more that confidence and I guess, you know what I mean, some of the knowledge gaps and just knowing a few different channels like SEO and Google Ads. So yeah.
Yeah, because obviously that's a massive benefit. Because I mean, it's something even I don't do. I mean, I have a guy that'll do stuff. So when I need like individual SEO bits done, or when I have clients that specifically want to do, then I can. But it's not something I would like publicly or sort of offer to people. You know, I don't put it down as a service for SEO unless people actually ask me for it, because
Yeah.
I see it as something extra that I would have to, because I like doing a lot of the stuff myself. Like I know you as well, and a lot of people are one-man bands. Like I enjoy the work, so I enjoy being able to do it myself and not having to outsource it. So something else I don't have to learn is just like, my intention is just to kind of pull a Jordan, like he did with Joe, and just do
Yeah.
it that way. That's kind of my intention in the sort of long run of it.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I think a lot of people kind of overwhelm themselves when they're starting out. I think people try and learn too much. They get that shiny object syndrome, and I don't know, they'll see a thing about SEO and they'll decide to go and buy a course on SEO. Where I say to everyone, just if you are going to get into digital marketing or marketing, just try and focus on one or two things max. And yeah, like really focus on that to start with. But just going way back, like before all that stuff, I think the whole reason I really wanted to get into digital marketing is I do think it's probably one of the best industries to be in at the moment. I think ultimately you can literally grow any business on the planet with digital marketing, especially in this day and age. You know what I mean? We're in a digital age now. More and more people are using mobile phones and stuff every single day. So I think that was one of the big things that really drew me to it as well, was having that initial interest in school. But yeah, I think it's such a big industry to get into. There's so much to learn. But I think for people out there, like, just focus on one or two things max. Don't overwhelm yourself, because well, everyone says this. It's like jack of all trades, master of none. I think it's good to try and like master a few things, and if you've got the basic knowledge, you can just outsource it and get other people to do the fulfillment for you.
And I think as well, you can kind of tell when people are just white labeling everything, because if they offer every single service under the sun and they don't have an infrastructure, as i.e. website, like strong social presence, you know, they're just a one person and they're just white labeling everything and outsourcing the entire operation. So then it comes into the quality question of what is the quality of the work going to be, what's the trust going to be. And I think just if you can actually say, look, I can absolutely smash it in this area, you're more chance of being successful than trying to say, oh, well, I can maybe do this and I can do a bit of this and I can do a bit of that.
Yeah, exactly, mate. 100% agree with that. It's the same with not even the services side of things, even working with different niches. So my agency at the moment, we still work with a range of niches. I really did want to just specialize in real estate, but we ended up getting all these referrals in, and obviously I didn't want to turn them down. So we are kind of a broad agency, but I think, you know what I mean, starting off, and for people out there, if you do have your own agency or are thinking of starting, I think it is important to like really niche down, because you become a master in that field at those specific types of services. And I think it's just easier to grow and learn that way as well, rather than, that is one struggle I have in my agency at the moment, and something that I'm trying to move away from, is because we're dealing with so many different industries and niches and campaigns, where I'm having to learn so much about all these different consumers and how things operate. And I'll be honest with you, it is a fucking headache. There's so much to learn. There's so much like that goes wrong, and we need to tweak and come up with solutions. Whereas if you specialize in one thing that you're passionate about, or you've, I don't know, chosen a niche that you really care about, it's just a lot easier that way. You can kind of copy and paste your service, and you just kind of constantly learn and evolve in that one thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, even writing copy and posts, like if you're doing scheduled posts, you're writing copy for them. Like I know how much of a ball ache it is when you're trying to like, and especially when you have very niche clients. I mean, I have clients in the cosmetic industry, so I have a scalp micropigmentation clinic. Like I had to go and learn what SMP was, and I had to learn all the acronyms, and I had to learn what the equipment is and what the ink is, because otherwise I couldn't write the fact posts that are trying to then build the audience, you know. And I think people don't realize, I think the clients, don't maybe realize that we have to actually go and learn what they know to be able to do what we're going to do. So it's like that on top of you know, learning how to actually do the ads, learning how to do all that actual business side. We have to learn the niche, and we have to learn that sort of subsect as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think even before you're doing the work for the clients, you do need to have like a fairly good understanding on the niche and the lingo and the language that they use, because I get people all the time asking me about real estate. And I think if you don't know the industry and know about like property investing and how estate agents work and how the commission rates work, it's going to be really difficult for you basically. So I think it's so important to have that knowledge before you've even signed a client, so that you can speak to them and address the problems that they have. And then obviously when you're doing the fulfillment, you need to be able to talk to their audience basically as well. So yeah, it's kind of the two sides to it.
I mean, hey, look, it's the reason I don't do real estate. I mean, everyone wants to do real estate. It's where the big bucks are at, like, you know, typically where the big money's at. But to me, I don't know fuck all about real estate, so there's no point. I would look more stupid if I went to have a meeting with a real estate agency, because they would just look at me and be like, this kid knows absolutely nothing about real estate. But
Yeah.
when I go and learn real estate, then I'll breach the niche. Until then, I would be more to a detriment to myself to actually try.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I've actually done a YouTube video on this. Like you need to have a bit of a kind of passion, or you need to actually care about the industry a little bit. Otherwise, it's just going to be really difficult. And that way you can obviously learn and pick up things quickly. But yeah, you need that understanding. You need to be able to talk the lingo and know what those businesses are trying to achieve and what types of leads they're looking for and that kind of thing. Otherwise, like you said, you're going to look stupid. It's just going to be so much harder for you to find clients and grow, really.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll agree. Like, if you know the niche, your chances of signing that client have just went up exponentially.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. And if you can directly address their problems, they're much more likely to jump on the phone with you. If you say, look, are you looking for more seller leads? I can guarantee you more real estate seller leads. They're going to be like, right, he actually knows what he's talking about. Whereas a lot of people just reach out and say, we're a digital marketing agency. I don't know, we help you sell more houses, and it's just not necessarily what they're looking for.
That's a really good tip, actually, if you want to expand on that in terms of when you're going to go have a meeting with someone. Know, if you know the niche and you know typically business owners in this niche have this problem, and actually kind of exploit it to your own advantage, and go in and go, hey, look, I know this is going to be a problem for you because it's a problem for all other business owners in this niche. Here's how I'm helping this agency, or how this is how I'm helping this business owner, and this is how we can do it for you as well. And I'm sure you'll agree that'll significantly help your chances of signing
Yeah,
clients.
100%. And for anyone out there who doesn't know how to find that information, a good tip is look at their website. They'll probably have a call to action that they're trying to drive, or I don't know, the main banner on their homepage will probably have that messaging on there. If not, look at their social media content. Like, you'll be able to figure it out by looking at what they're posting, what they're talking about on the website. That's a great tip. Even if you don't really know the industry, it should be quite clear what they're trying to achieve. So yeah, I think that's a good way of finding that out.
Yes. And another thing I wanted to actually really specifically get into with you, because I do see you using funnels, and I wanted to know sort of your opinion on funnels and how you operate within your agency in terms of funnels.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like the whole landing page funnel thing is crucial now. I think, I mean, Russell Brunson, who obviously founded ClickFunnels,
Genius.
yeah, absolute genius. I think just before we go into that, like, it's really important that people are constantly up to date with how consumers are kind of functioning in the day and age. And one thing that is really super beneficial with landing pages and funnels is obviously you can like hyper optimize them. You can minimize distractions, and this is the big thing I speak to clients about all the time. I speak to a lot of people that like send traffic to a website still, and this can be great, but because of mobile phones and I mean, all these notifications and stuff that we get every day, like the average person's attention span is like a couple of seconds nowadays, and I think it's constantly dropping each year. I was looking online about it the other day. So this is why these funnels and landing pages are so good, because you can send someone to this streamlined page. It's hyper optimized around the campaign and the messaging, and there'll usually only be one thing that they can do, which is the conversion or the goal that you want them to complete. Whereas you send people to a website, you've got all those different links they can click on, your blog posts. There's just tons of distractions. They might click on your Facebook link, and then they're just scrolling through your Facebook profile, and then you'll usually lose that like user, or you lose the traffic, if that makes sense.
And I think the way Russell Brunson actually puts it, if you ever watch the funnel hacker videos that come, like the webinars that come with ClickFunnels, I think he says it as a confused mind never buys. So for example, if you have to go from here to here across a web page, typically how many extra pop-ups do you get when you scroll from left to right across a page and sub-menus and drop-downs? And it's based to sort of take that away. If you can direct someone to a page that has, here's the product, here's the price, here's buy now, that's it. And you've already, the aim of it is obviously you've already warmed them up with content, you've already warmed them up with your ad, you've already then been able to warm them up and actually get them into your funnel, which we want to discuss, but then being able to actually convert them and just drive that traffic directly to that one page and minimize the threat that they can then seep out and get somewhere else and then lose the sale.
100%. Yeah, exactly, man. And even just the messaging and stuff, and this really applies to like SEO and Google ads, but if someone's searching for a specific keyword or phrase on Google, or even if someone's being grabbed by a specific piece of content, an image, or I don't know, a title on a Facebook ad, if you have that exact messaging on the landing page, you know what I mean, it really resonates with people, and that does actually increase conversions. That's why, won't go into too much detail on this today, but with Google ads, they have the whole quality score thing. Like quality score is like one of the big metrics that Google ads uses, and it's all about relevance. Like if someone's types a certain keyword and they come onto a page which isn't about that, they're obviously not going to convert because it's just going to be confusing. So it's all about making things like hyper relevant, hyper optimized. So yeah, landing pages and funnels definitely the way to go. And yeah, happy to kind of go more into that kind of funnel thing now if you want.
Yeah, because I know obviously within your agency you will, but we'll probably talk about that now first anyway. But something else I wanted to talk about probably down the line here is obviously your personal brand and the side of your agency that is obviously you've got your Facebook group, you've got your mastermind. And sort of I want to talk about that and how you're actually using a funnel for yourself as well as your agency.
Yeah, sure, man. So just quickly with funnels, like the great thing about them is you can just add those extra steps in to create more conversions, provide extra value and education. They just work really well in terms of like nurturing leads and even selling products. Obviously, if you've ever bought anything off Russell Brunson or seen any of the ClickFunnels actual campaigns live, there's usually like 7 steps you go through where they like give something away for free, then they upsell some cheap products, and you kind of go down this ladder, and that stuff just works so well in this day and age. So one of our clients is actually one of the real estate clients we've got. We offer like a free lead magnet on the first page, and people can download a free list of properties to browse over. As soon as they've done that, we actually send them to another page, which has got loads more information about the company. And this really warms them up, kind of nurtures them in a way. And then on that page, they can also book in a consultation call. And we're getting like an 8% conversion rate just on that page. Awesome. And then on the front facing page, we're getting like a 20-30% conversion rate. So just by adding that one extra page, one little extra step in, we're obviously booking in way more consultation calls for my client. And just basically improving the campaign. So yeah, funnels are awesome.
That's awesome. Actually, just to build on what you just said there, because we're about to do something similar, and obviously no real stats at the minute, but I project that it's going to significantly increase our actual conversion rate. Is basically we had a lead magnet just for one of my martial arts clubs. We had a lead magnet going, just a simple membership one, but we were running that anyway, but then obviously they were just going through the typical means of follow up and outreach, just call, email, send them text and Facebook. And what we found was we were getting so much traction with content because we put out like 3 pieces of content a day for this club. And we were getting so much traction with content. People were actually getting in contact without clicking through the ad. But the ad was working because they were then coming to him and saying, oh, we've seen your ad and we've looked at it and we've seen all the other content, but we just wanted to come to you. And we realized that was skewing with a lot of our figures. And it was really sort of, wasn't it? It was good for him, and he understood it was all coming from the ads anyway, but it just didn't look great for the reports every month. So what we've done now is basically just go from that squeeze page and run it into what we're doing as a secondary funnel, which is just like a registration membership funnel, because obviously they now have that new, not a new feature, but they have the access feature for membership on ClickFunnels. So we're trying to streamline that section by basically getting rid of what they're currently doing for that and pulling that into their funnel, so we can go straight through squeeze page into the actual, well, it's actually the lead gen into a thank you page with a one-time offer, and then that there transfers through into this. But we can also use it when people come to him and they say, but we want to sign up. He gives them that link. It drops them straight into that step in the funnel, and then it still tracks for us. So we still know, and then we can track more. So he wants to know his actual overall conversion rate as well, because he wants to try and narrow in on sales problems that he would be having. So projected, it's going to significantly increase our conversion rate and actually help us keep people in the funnel.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And you made a couple of really good points there as well. I think number one, like you need those like multiple touch points in campaigns, and businesses need multiple touch points on those different channels to really maximize growth in a way. You can't just rely on one channel. And the same applies for like one, your ads and where you put in your content, but also like your follow-up strategy. Like everyone's different. I use this example all the time, like the way you speak to friends and family. I've got family members that I just speak to on WhatsApp. Some people I FaceTime. I've got family that I speak to on Facebook Messenger, and consumers are the same. People that you're trying to, get into your business are also the same. So it's important to have all those touch points, definitely. And the other thing you mentioned there was the education and the value. Like that is the best way to definitely like lead with a lot of campaigns nowadays. I think people are always looking to be educated and looking for that free value. And something that I say to my clients all the time, a lot of people are still trying to do that booking a consultation call thing, and it's just dead. I just think that strategy is so nearly close to just being completely dead now.
Yeah.
Because when people see that, they just think, right, you're just going to sell something to me on the phone. Whereas if you provide them with like a free guide on whatever it is, martial arts, real estate, people will download that for free. You've captured their email address. You can educate them on what you provide, and then help turn them into a client. So yeah, a couple of good points there as well. Education of value, and then having all those touch points in there as well.
Something else I was specifically wanting to mention, actually, while we're on this point, is good. For other marketers, more importantly, is when you're looking at the services you offer, also consider looking at what you're offering currently and if it can be broken down, or if you can actually create a service. And I mean, genuinely, this came from my client. Like, my client was the one that told me to start selling this as a service. And it was literally just this secondary funnel, plus beforehand, actually, basically the work we do in terms of like his online. Basically, he came to me and was like, "Hey, I went and done this course online, this like seminar. He's like, I paid X amount of money for it, and it was shit." And he was like, "You could be doing this." He was like, "Go, and if you do this and this and this, and he's like, "Run it with me," he says, "first, and we'll see." And now it's a completely new aspect of it's a completely new service, sorry, that we can sell and are actively now starting to set up to actually sell off. And both, that secondary funnel is just a setup funnel. It's just a simple, like, they can send it off. But within the niche that I'm in, being martial arts, it's something that's actually, it's very simple but very needed. People don't think to do that. And martial arts instructors, when they hear it, are like, oh shit, like, yeah, of course I would pay X amount for that's fucking, yeah, that would make my life a lot easier. One link, all I have to do is send it to them, and their payment gets done. They get all their information. They're already registered. They're in the membership area, and they're like, yeah. I mean, so also, just a secondary point, think about what the time value is in your niche as well. I think it's super important. Like with martial arts instructors, they are on the mat, so they are doing shit constantly. Like, they don't have time, to be honest, to sit and ring leads and to do emails and follow up and run their own. And they don't have time. They pay for conveniency. And if you know your niche, you know what they'll pay for, you know what services you can offer, and then you can not only help that business more, but you can actually make more money yourself. You get more out of it in that way.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, big advocate for kind of upselling other services. I just think for people out there, you just do need to be careful. I've heard of horror stories of people upselling like Facebook ads, and it went wrong, and then they end up losing clients. But yeah, I think it's basically, you just want to be helping your clients in any way possible. I think you just need to be careful. Like, I've heard of agencies out there that offer like sales training and stuff to their clients. I think ultimately you just need to be confident in what you're doing, and that you have the ability to definitely kind of achieve it for the client. Otherwise, you do run that risk of pissing them off because, I don't know, maybe you don't get as good results and things like that. But yeah, absolutely, man. Upselling is a key way to scale, really, especially if you're working with a big client and you can start to upsell SEO and other services, because that just massively increases the retainer. You just need to make sure you can deliver on it.
Yeah, of course. So obviously, you've hit six figures. So again, congratulations. Big up
Thanks, man.
that. And I know everyone in the community that we're in was super hyped as well and pumped for you, because I mean, it's a massive milestone for us to see. For other people in the community to see it is sick. But I wanted to ask, in terms of scale, did you anticipate this, number one? And two, was it outreach, was it cold calls, or was it based through referrals and word of mouth?
Yeah, good question, man. Just quickly as well, and I think let's maybe come on to this in a bit. Just in terms of the financial side, I think for anyone out there, you do need to be careful. Like, the financial side of things shouldn't really be a goal for you. And I'll kind of briefly touch on this now, but like, now I've hit six figures, it just seems normal, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes I'm still pinching myself, and this is the issue with those like financial incentives and goals that people have, is you'll hit a certain goal, but then you're always looking at that next step. So I think we can dive into this in way more detail in a bit, in terms of like, you know what I mean, your why, like why you're doing something, why do you want to do, I don't know, why do you want to start a business or hit a certain goal. I just think it's important that people out there, you know what I mean, you don't just look at the financial side of things. But in terms of the speed that I hit six figures, definitely wasn't expecting it to do it in 6 months. So I quit my job in March, and then replaced my wage. And then, yeah, around March, April time, I set myself a 12-month goal to hit six figures, which I thought was really realistic. I mean, realistically, you only need to get to about £8,500 a month in retainers. So even if you only sign one or two clients a month, or one client every 2 months, it could be quite easy to hit it over the course of a year. But yeah, obviously things went a lot better than expected, and managed to achieve it in just over or just under 6 months, around September time.
Nice.
And in terms of the clients, it was just a huge range. We had quite a few referrals that came in. In terms of my outreach strategy, I don't do cold calling. I've never been a fan of it. Again, we can go into a bit more detail on that in a bit, but my main strategies in terms of booking in calls with clients and then signing them, LinkedIn, because obviously you can just speak to business owners directly. You just need to be careful, in what you're saying to them. As we mentioned earlier, you need to actually sound interested in the niche and be able to speak the lingo and address their problems directly. And Facebook groups is another huge one. The biggest client I actually signed was just from posting in a Facebook group. Again, I just really hit the nail on the head and managed to, I guess, call out to them in terms of like the solution that I could bring them. Facebook groups, LinkedIn, and then email campaigns. They are good, but you just have to really cut through the noise, because there's millions of agencies out there sending business owners emails every day. So you really need to you need to cut through the noise, basically. And one thing I really love, and this is why I don't really like cold calling, I don't really have much sales experience. So I love video outreach, because I said this on my interview with Jordan. Obviously with video outreach, you can craft like a 10-minute video, and if you go wrong, you can re-record it, and you can really take your time to get your message across. Whereas when you're on the phone, I don't know about you, I'm just not a fan of cold calling. I'll jump on the phone. Even though I'm confident in what I'm selling, you always have those nerves there, and people throw those curveballs at you, and it just completely throws you off sometimes. So yeah, big up video outreach, and then again, it's important to use those different strategies.
Nice, because mine's actually the opposite. I love cold calls. That's predominantly cold calls, but again, that's coming from my experience being in hospitality. So I worked in hospitality management in bars and hospitality, basically for say 6-7 years. So front customer facing, face to face, that comes so naturally to me that I prefer that over sending an email, and that's the reason that I'm looking to sort of jig my outreach strategy now. It's because my email outreach is pretty shit, to be honest. It's just, I mean, you do as everyone does. You set up your sequence and you put it in and you copy this script and that script, and it just doesn't work. Like, I've never had any actual success for emails. Everything is through cold calls, which is something I do need to fix. I mean, again, it's one of them shortcomings of my agency. It's the weak point of the structure is I need to have better outreach in terms of email. But my problem is I can't articulate things in text and in writing, which is why I always sound like a retard half the time when I try to type things. Whereas if I say stuff, I can articulate, especially when someone's on a call. And as you said, when you mentioned like they threw you curveballs consistently, people love doing it. But that's the bit I enjoy, because I'd rather have the curveball. I actually find it easier to respond on the spot than to actually have time to write the email, because I feel like I should write a better response if it's through the email.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think cold calling is definitely something I'm necessarily going to get into myself, but I think my next step is either getting someone to handle the fulfillment side of things. But I think ideally I want to try and find someone who loves cold calling. So if you want to jump in, Johnny, come join the agency. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I think someone to either do the marketing side of things just to free up a bit of time so I can focus on sales. But ideally I want someone on like a commission only basis who's doing cold calls constantly all day, because I'll be honest, I completely agree with you. I think cold calls are the best way to actually get meetings booked and to sign clients, because most agencies aren't doing them, especially all the agencies you get abroad, because there's not just UK agencies messaging UK business owners. You've got people in the US, you've got India. There's agencies all across the world constantly spamming people with emails, LinkedIn messages. And not many people are doing cold calls. I think that's why they cut through the noise. I did actually do, when I first started off, I did like 10 cold calls and I booked in like 2 meetings. But even after having that success, I didn't end up signing the clients. Even after having that success with the cold calling, I just still don't enjoy it. And obviously I've managed to do all right without it. But yeah, I think I definitely want to get someone like on a commission basis who can come in and just cold call businesses 24/7, because definitely the best strategy, I think.
I mean, 100%. And I mean, we mentioned it earlier on, like I think outsourcing is one of the best things to do when it's the right time and when it's for the right reason. So like in your case and in my case where it's something that I know needs done, but I'm not exactly fantastic at it. So, hire what you need to hire. Same as I mentioned with like, obviously, Jordan done it with Joe because the analytical side, and that's completely my idea as well. And I mean, I don't know what your opinion on it, but that's actually my intention, because I know once I hit a certain level, I'm not going to be able to scale any further, which isn't right now. I'm okay, but I know once I hit a certain level, I'm not going to be able to scale any further without filling that repertoire. Being able to fill that demand. But I already know exactly in my head who I would be looking at anyway. And the sort of structure, which would be, as I said, just essentially equity, just kind of bring someone in as a business owner, because again, it's like Jordan said when he mentioned it, I believe someone will work harder if they have a reason to work hard. Do you know what I mean? If they feel like they're invested and they have an investment in the business and a reason they're actually going to get up, they're going to work and they're going to get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's good to have them incentives there. I'm actually just literally before we jumped on the podcast, I was interviewing someone. So basically, at the moment, I'm trying to recruit a digital marketing specialist who can handle the fulfillment. Initially, I wanted someone doing sales, but I thought, let's say they smash it over the next 3 months, I'm just going to have way too much work to do myself anyway.
Smart.
And personally, I think I still want to be the face of the company. You know what I mean, for a bit, producing all the content and still kind of outreaching to people. But I think my goal and what I want to do, get like some sort of specialist in who can do all the fulfillment, dive into the campaign, someone who's obsessed with tweaking ads, A/B testing, not entrepreneurial minded. And I'll come on to this in a second. This is actually why some of the interviews didn't go too well over the last week or two, because there were other massive entrepreneurial minded people. And you can have that clash there. Ultimately, 100%. I think I'm just looking for someone who's like a proper data geek who can just dive into the campaigns. And then I think from there, hopefully over the next few months, I'll try and find someone who can do the sales side, cold calling on a commission basis, and then scale up that way. And then, you know what I mean, as we get too overwhelmed, just get another performance specialist in and go from there, really.
That's
but
smart.
Massive point that you made was, delegation. Like, you need to delegate things that you're not necessarily good at or that you don't enjoy. And I think a lot of business owners out there are scared to do that. I think a lot of people get, I don't even know what it is. They're like maybe anxious about giving or delegating tasks away. I guess it's a weird thing, isn't it? I think a lot of people get stuck and they try and do everything. And ultimately, I think that's why a lot of businesses collapse.
I mean, my thing is I'm honest enough to actually just say, like, Well, I'm going to make myself sound like an idiot. Like, I know I'm probably not smart enough to roll with like the top marketers in the game. Probably not. That's just being honest. But I know strategically that I can strategically place a business. I can strategically work a brand. So I know that, which is why I completely agree with what you said there. Bring in the analytical thinker, bring in the data geek, bring in the person that knows the numbers, but that you're not going to clash with because they don't have intention of run the business. They don't have intention of doing that, but they are super committed. They have a reason to get out of bed and work. And that's exactly why I have an idea. Actually, already in my head, I've known since the start who I would bring in.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly sure they'll say yes. But
Mm.
for that reason, because I know that person doesn't want to go and run a business, they have some managerial personality traits, if you get me, but they don't want to be a business owner. And at the same time, they're shit fucking hard at what they do. I know they can smash at least 4 different areas of digital marketing, which is, even more of a plus.
Mhm.
And I know that I could trust that person no matter what. Like, I already know the perfect ideal candidate. But
Yeah.
for you, I assume you're hiring people overseas.
So actually, both the people I've interviewed so far have been based in the UK. So I'm basically approaching it from different angles. I've got a recruitment agency looking into things. Difficulty with them is it's obviously really expensive. You end up paying recruitment agencies like 10% of the wage. So if you're hiring someone, I mean, the candidates that they've sent over so far are like 30K plus wages. You end up paying 3-4 grand just for them sourcing them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm kind of looking at that. Those are the people I've been interviewing so far, but based off what I've seen so far, I think I'm just going to look for some overseas contractors, but someone who can, come in full time and who just absolutely loves testing things and like you said, real data geek and can just dive into the campaign. So I think that would be the route I go down. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you intend to hire in anything else, smaller roles or anything like that there?
Not really. I think mainly just using contractors for little bits and bobs. I've got a couple of friends who do design work, so I can just utilize them. But yeah, I think the main thing for me, I just really need someone over the next month or two who can handle all the fulfillment because, like you said, I'm going to hit that peak soon where I'm not going to be able to take on any more clients. And if I do, I run the risk of getting worse results, not having that kind of what's the word, not diluting the relationships with the current clients, if that makes sense. Like, and I want to still be able to have plenty of time so that they're getting the best results and there's still lots of time that have been spent on the campaigns. So yeah, 100%. The next thing for me is someone to do the fulfillment, and then at the same time I'm kind of looking for someone who can do that sales role, mainly cold calling, and yeah, hopefully just on a commission basis, just to keep costs down and things like that. But there's huge earning potentials with the commission-based stuff. So that's ideally what I'm looking for. It's just really difficult to find, I'll be honest. So.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that is such a benefit of actually hiring other people in is you can get that sort of dream 4-hour week, so to speak, where, if you have your outreach and that and then your fulfillment's covered as well, then, it's just actual closing meetings that you have to really worry about. And then that allows you more time to actually expand. And I think at that point, when you have more time, you can actually scale faster and you can scale harder.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think the kind of 0 to 6 figure mark is like the hardest bit. That's where you've just got to grind your ass off constantly. You've got to manage everything, and it is risky. If I got seriously ill, like touch wood, that won't happen. Like my agency would be pretty fucked. Like obviously I could quickly outsource things and I know I could get people in, but I don't have that infrastructure there. I don't know, if I got hit by a car and I was in a coma for 4 days, like my business would be fucked. So there is those risks there, and like you said, it's all about delegating things, and then you can kind of either step away from the business. Some people just want to live on 6 figures and work 2 hours a week. Other people obviously want to scale up further, and you need to be delegating tasks away to do that. Otherwise, you're just going to hit that limit where you're not able to do any more or take on any more work, basically.
Of course. And I mean, even more credit to you for the fact that you've hit 6 figures and have maintained completely by yourself. You haven't actually had to, a lot of people would get to 5K and go, oh, I need to hire this person, I should hire this person, and end up having more outgoing than they ever should at that point. It's not sensible for the business to have that much outgoing. And, I say more credit to you for the fact that you managed to get to 6 figures, and now you're thinking, okay, if I hire this person, it allows me more free time to do this, which will allow me to do this, which will allow me to scale, which means I can go from A to Z fast as a motherfucker and actually just level up your business and your life a lot quicker.
Yeah, 100%. I did actually, when I first started off, I did actually have a virtual assistant doing some outreach for me, but it didn't really work out. They were booking in a hell of a lot of meetings, but they just didn't have that deep understanding on like the high quality leads and the clients that we wanted to work with. So it worked well in a way. It was good sales training. It was good to jump on calls, but it got to the stage where I was doing like 4 or 5 sales calls a day. At least 3 of them would be bad quality. And it was just, I was spending money on something that was draining my time and wasn't as effective. And this goes back to what I was talking about earlier with the personal outreach and putting the effort in and making it personalized. There's, like I said, millions of other agencies out there doing all that spam, not necessarily spam, but messaging people constantly with offers and what they do. So you need to cut through the noise. And I just don't think the VA really worked. So yeah. But yeah, really key point you made there as well. Like, it's important to not delegate too quickly, but just know when the time is right that you need to start handing away work, and so that you can continue to grow.
And at the same time as well, just for people to keep in mind, you don't always have to outsource. It's automate, optimize, outsource, or get rid of. You don't always have to outsource it. In a lot of cases, like, you can automate the shit out of things, and you can optimize things. Even when you can't automate it or outsource it, you can always optimize it.
Yeah, exactly. So like that kind of leads on to one thing I'm working on at the moment, and this is the difference between like a 6-figure agency and a 7-figure agency. I think right now I'm really trying to develop that 7-figure agency offer, which just focus on one niche, really killer offer with like guaranteed results or their money back, only focusing on one industry, like I just said, and just scaling that up and developing something that's basically copy and paste. And that, strictly speaking, all you need to do is create like an SOP. So just create basically a Word document of how to do what it is that you need doing, and then you can hand that to anyone. You can hire a VA in the Philippines that will do it for $3 an hour. I don't know, my girlfriend can do it. Like, it's creating those systems that really kind of skyrocket things. Whereas I haven't got the best agency at the moment, although we've grown quickly. It's, like I said, it's still a little bit clunky. I'm still working with loads of different industries, which is great, but I think it's very difficult to grow a huge agency doing that. And there's agencies out there that have done it. And I don't know if you've heard of Jellyfish. They're like one of the biggest digital marketing agency out there. But they're one of those agencies that have like millions and millions of pounds of outgoings. They've got like 20 different offices, hundreds of different staff members. And when you actually look at the profit they're making, it's tiny compared to an agency that's only doing 200K a year, but they've got like an 80% profit margin.
So everything. I mean, there's I don't know what it was. I was listening to a podcast on a drive from Swansea up to Manchester one time, and the guy that was on was talking about how you actually bridging that 6 to 7 figure gap, basically, and how, to get to 6 figures, I realized I had to be a 6-figure entrepreneur. He says, but to get from 6 figures to 7 figures, says it takes more than one 6-figure entrepreneur. He says it took me standing back and hiring 5 other 6-figure entrepreneurs and getting them. He says, because basically I think the point he was trying to make was one person alone cannot physically do the amount of work required to get to that point. Like, at some point you have to then turn your mindset to, I need to stop thinking about how giving the best quality product and service and think about how I can hire the best quality staff or best quality people to actually scale my business for me, because no one person can fulfill the workload or can fulfill the sort of energy needed to get a business to that point.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that would literally be impossible. Someone who has absolutely smashed it out the park is Joel Kaplan. I don't know if you've followed him. Yeah. So just quickly, and anyone out there, go and check his stuff out. Really valuable.
I'll drop the link below as well for him.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, Joel Kaplan, absolute god at agency work. So yeah, he basically just focused on chiropractors, create an awesome offer where I think they guarantee results. They also provide sales training to their clients, and basically everything's just SOP'd. So they just have a Word documents of how to do absolutely everything, how to onboard clients, how to set up the campaigns, how to run the clients. And then he just outsources everything to VAs in the Philippines or wherever they're based. That obviously cost efficient, but you're also helping someone abroad. Like that's a really good wage.
I was just about
there.
to mention that actually.
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad thing when he says $3 and everything. Like that's actually very good, to be fair.
Yeah. I
Like,
always I've mentioned using VAs in the past and
Yeah.
spoken about them with people, and I'm like, by the way, like that is really beneficial to them.
Yeah,
And
significantly.
the whole VA industry, the virtual assistant kind of space, especially in the Philippines, I think the whole country, sorry, is massively benefiting from it. I know
Yeah.
that it's not just agencies that are doing it, like businesses like Facebook
Everyone,
and Google
yeah.
have been outsourcing for years, which is why agency owners are doing it now, because you're helping someone out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And ultimately it does keep costs down.
Yeah.
They're just super motivated to work. And obviously, like,
And
with
very
Joel,
honestly, the quality's good. I mean, I've hired like for graphic design work in little jobs. I mean, I've hired British people and I've hired these people in Asia and even what is it? People in Africa, right? People in Africa are shit hot copywriters. Shit hot copywriters. It's the same as like people in Holland as well are shit hot copywriters. And they're really good translators, Dutch people as well. If you ever need stuff translated between European languages, go to a Dutch person. They're awesome. They speak like 6 languages. It's like it's not only beneficial, like for us, as you say, cost efficient, easy because you can just give them the cheat sheet and say, here, do this. But as you say, it benefits them, it benefits their economy, and it's actually in some way you're going for the better quality. You know, it's not just picking these people out because they're cheap. You pick them out because they're good. At the end of the day, we care about our services we provide. We care about our agencies and our clients. We're not going to hire someone just because they're cheap. We're going for the best service available.
Yeah. And another person who's good to check out is Ravi Abuvala. I haven't butchered his name pronunciation there, but yeah, he's got a company called Scaling with Systems, and they teach how to do all of this stuff, creating SOPs. They've actually got their own virtual assistant training center in the Philippines that he built from scratch. Like, it's just huge. Everyone's utilizing it, but that is like one of the best ways, I think, to get 6 to 6 figures, really hone down on a niche, have a repeatable copy and paste service, and then just absolutely go to town on it. And that's what I'm trying to develop at the moment in the real estate sector. It's just, it's a big thing having that, like you said, the 6-figure mindset and then the 7-figure mindset. Like, the jump and the knowledge and all the fails that I'm probably going to go through are going to be very taxing, but it's just developing yourself and your business into that level, I think.
Of course, and it's just becoming more robust, isn't it? It's like I mean, coronavirus, because obviously we're going to have to talk about it. We've already swore enough that this is demonetized, so it's fine. Yeah, like that was. I mean, you're the same as me. You started right at the start of coronavirus, and I mean, it's very obvious to see a lot of people either done really well or a lot of people done really badly. And I mean, I was just lucky that I maintained through the crap bit at the start when everyone was kind of going, shit, what are we all going to do now? Maintained through that, and then, well, same as yourself, but not as well as you. Came back swinging and actually ended up knocking out of the park at the end of the main lockdown. And again, before the end of this year, so I projected to make more before the end of this year than I have all year so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's another good thing about the digital marketing industry. It's just, I think it's always going to thrive. I know people that lost all their clients, and I know businesses that have completely crumbled, but most digital marketers have thrived over this period, especially with online stores and things like that. And I think it's really made people realize, especially a lot of business owners out there, that you need online marketing, you need those things in place. It's just crazy. And it goes back to like that business model thing. Like, you can have an agency with 80% profit margins, but there's businesses out there that have completely collapsed because they had to shut for a couple of months and their outgoings are so high, it just cripples the business. And it's crazy when you look at businesses like that. You think they're massively successful and they're making millions of pounds, and they might be, but then their outgoings are also millions of pounds. It's just crazy, man. But yeah.
And you see it on a daily basis. I mean, you look at these like massive billionaires, like, you know, Richard Branson, they're going asking for bailouts. Like, you're supposed to be a billionaire. Surely you have like 6 months like bad weather fund set aside. You know what I mean? Like, surely a business of your size should have enough in stock assets, if fucking nothing else.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You should not need a bailout from the government.
No. And again, this is just draws down to the reason why I don't want to be one of those big digital marketing agencies with loads of offices in different countries with hundreds of staff members and graphic designers, because something goes wrong. I don't know, let's say I was focused on a specific niche and Corona had come by, it can just absolutely cripple you. So streamlined is the way forward.
I mean, you're speaking to someone whose main niche is martial arts. So coronavirus was shit.
Yeah.
Shit. And I mean, I say this all the time, but as you said, like my client list was cut in half. Start of coronavirus between the start of coronavirus and the first like sort of week of that, right at the very start, there was a drop off, and then over the sort of week of that, there was a couple of extras, and then people that ruled out contracts. But like for the most part, it was shit. Like martial arts was screwed, right? And everyone was floundering. Luckily, we jumped on it quickly. Like I sat down, we had a phone call, and I was like, "Your business is going to be fine." I was like, "We're going to work something out." And basically, same as most clubs done, we went for the Zoom, Facebook Live, but we basically went a hell for leather with it. So we created individual Facebook groups for the different ages and the different classes they do. We had content going out on there. We had YouTube videos going out. We had live sessions every day for all the age groups on Facebook Live and Zoom. We were doing like morning stretching for like an hour, so people could get out of bed and have a stretch for an hour. Okay. We were putting out children's educational resources every day. I was going through and finding an educational resource for the children to go and do. And then we went into like, right, well, how can we started getting traction, which was the weirdest bit. And then went, right, well, how can we sort of expand on this? So then we sat down, crafted a course. The instructor crafted a technical tank pseudo, the basics. We put it online as a course, paid it out, done well, started going back, looked at, okay, well, we'll have an intermediate and an expert one planned. Went back and with like the stretching thing, because it was so bad, like people loved it. Like people were saying like, "Oh, I missed stretching today. Can you upload the video?" As they loved it that much. So he done a stretching course, 3-week course. We've got a full 3-month course now as well out. We have a high intensity interval training course, which is just released or just about to release. And at this point now, like this is infrastructure we've now set up that he's continuing to benefit from. And his classes are open again. He's back to work, but he's still got residual income coming from this completely new avenue.
Nice, man. You absolutely smashed that. Yeah, that's great that you managed to adapt and help your client that way. That's awesome, man. That's a really good example.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone just had the same issues. You know, I mean, no matter what niche you were in, like, you know, real estate, you couldn't have viewings. Everything had to be digital viewings. Yeah. So, I mean, I think everyone had their own struggle during lockdown.
Yeah, exactly. I think, you're right. Every industry did. Even with e-commerce, I know that they thrived. There was a lot more people doing online shopping at home, but I've heard of some horror stories with shipping, warehouses going down and things like that. So, it's just been horrible for businesses and people across the world. Really, it's been crazy.
At one point I was contacting I was speaking to a brewery, and they said like, we physically can't go forward with anything because we can't get tins. They were like, we cannot get cans, we can't get the product out of the fucking vats. Like we cannot bottle it or tin it because we can't get any. There's none in the country. And like
mental.
It was crazy. They started selling it in bags then, in boxes.
But yeah, I'm just hoping this all blows over soon. Hopefully next year will be a bit better, because again, even just not necessarily the industry difficulties, but people have just been hesitant, I think, to invest and put money into marketing and stuff as well. So it's definitely been harder to sign clients.
Yeah. Would you agree that long term, this will probably end up being a good benefit in the digital marketing space? Obviously, you know, as you say, at the minute, people are a bit more cautious with their money, pinching pennies, trying to make sure they can ride this shit out. But at the same time, once people go back to that more sort of state of normality and they have a bit more money there, I think it's going to sit in the back of people's minds like, if this happens again, are we prepared to go completely digital?
Need that backup plan. Absolutely, man. I think in the long term, it's going to be beneficial. I think for those people out there that maybe didn't believe in digital marketing,
non-believers.
Yeah, the non-believers. Then I think it's definitely hit home. So I think you're right, man. I think in the long term, it'd be a benefit for the industry, but still, it would have been better if the whole thing just never happened.
Yeah, of course. So another thing I just quickly want to touch on, just while we're on this little tangent. Obviously, you posted about it. Every single person I know that markets has posted about it. The Facebook 20% rule change. I just wanted to get your opinion on it quickly. And your thoughts on it.
Yeah, awesome. So so just for everyone out there, so obviously when you're running Facebook ads, there's a limit, isn't there, on your ad creative. You can't have more than 20% text on the image. I think it's great that they've changed it. There's so many campaigns and client examples I can think of, even when I was working full time for companies, where there was just such a pain in the ass. The graphic designer would come back with this awesome ads and it'd be like, yeah, we can't use that. There's too much text, or they then have to go and edit it. So I think it's good. It's more flexible. I don't, to be honest, really know why they had that kind of limit on there before. I could understand, I think it was maybe there to stop spammy messages or some sort of corruption. I can't think of any other reason why it was there. So yeah, I think it's a good thing, definitely. And I think Facebook are realizing now. I honestly, I don't know if you can shed any light on this. I don't know why it was there in the first place. My initial thoughts were it was to stop some sort of spam, corruption, people, I don't know, writing ad copy, which is completely different from what was on the image, if that makes sense. Maybe
Possibly
trying to direct someone to something else. I really don't know why it was there. So yeah, I think it's a benefit.
I don't know why it would. I actually, yeah, same as you. I don't know why it was there in the first place.
No.
I assume probably like as you say, so you can't like write political statements in the photo. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Something like that. But I mean, it was an absolute nightmare. I mean, especially when you're working with martial arts clubs whose logos are text, and if you put their logo on the picture at like this ratio, you've already took up like 20% of the, you can't write anything on the picture because you put the logo on. So if they didn't get rid of it, they need to at least up that to like 30-40%, but getting rid of it. But they still they still suggest they still suggest you should keep it. But the problem is now with that, before they used to have the checker where you could stick your creative on, it would tell you what the text level was and where it would rank. But now, because they've got rid of the 20% rule, they've took that portion off the website, so you can't see if your photograph's going to rank a low, medium, or high anymore.
Yeah, no, I'll be honest with you. I hate the Facebook ad platform and the support. I think it's really poor.
Support's dreadful.
When you compare it to Google's support system, it is shit basically. But yeah, just back to the image thing. I think the other thing really is, I think it's a good thing. I think it makes things a bit more flexible. However, at the end of the day, I think the image is just there to grab attention, stop people scrolling. So you could argue that you don't really need text on it. However, I can think of plenty of campaigns I've run in the past where it has been beneficial to be able to put some key selling points or some sort of sticker or a text on there that's helped.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's beneficial for like martial arts. Like I had a banging creative made for a campaign. I actually had a set of 4 of them made for testing. Went to test them all, and Facebook just crippled all of them because we had, and no matter how small I put the text logo, it was still taking up the full 20%, regardless of. And all I was trying to put was like the price and like was now just pricing, and it was like no. So it was an absolute nightmare. But I mean, I think it's going to be definitely beneficial. But I think a lot of people might end up taking the piss a little bit and screwing it up by putting just ungodly amounts of text on pictures.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but it opens up the doors a bit, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So something else I just wanted to check with you. Obviously we have now 3 months left of the year, 4 months left of the year. What's your plans for the rest of the year then? Obviously, you've hit 6 figures. The year's not even out. What's your next goal?
Yeah, man. So yeah, Q4, the last little push of the year. So yeah, the big thing for me is obviously I've started the recruitment process. So like I said, really trying to find a digital marketing specialist, and also slowly looking for someone to come in and do cold calling, do that sales stuff, hopefully on a commission basis. So I'm kind of focused on that. But that's something that doesn't take up a lot of time. Just scaling up still, really, to be honest. Like I said, I'm trying to develop that 7-figure kind of mindset and also offer. So I think I really do want to niche down next year, probably in real estate, but I haven't quite decided yet. So yeah, just kind of creating that like 7-figure offer, something that I can copy and paste, and I don't, like I said earlier, I don't have to keep learning about a new industry and do onboarding for an entirely new niche and stuff. It's just it's a big headache. It's just not the best way to work. So yeah, developing that kind of 7-figure kind of agency mindset and structure, I guess. Recruiting, and then on the back end I've also got like my consulting stuff that I've started. So I think you're in the group. Originally was going to obviously start up a group, basically just training people how to grow their own digital marketing agency. But to be honest with you, over the last few days, I've thought I'm going to branch out a bit and actually just teach maybe digital marketing courses. So I might have one specifically for agency owners, but I think what I'm going to start off with is maybe like a course on how to do SEO, one on Google ads, one on Facebook and Instagram ads, and then I can like merge the things together. And I guess those are things that can appeal to everyone. You might be a business owner that wants to know SEO. You might be an agency owner that needs to know everything. So that's kind of what I'm working on in the background, just as a little side thing. I think ultimately that was always my goal, was to have a bit more of an impact on people out there and help people like me who came from normal backgrounds, working dead-end jobs, and weren't happy to, just being able to kind of do what I want now. So I think that's the goal, and I'm just kind of working on that in the background. Again, really important, I think, not to get that shiny object syndrome, and I'm trying not to focus on that too much, but it's something that I'm doing like in my spare time as well.
Yeah, I really like that what you said about you've kind of changed your perspective of how you're going to run the group, because that's something that I had so much trouble trying to put together in my head. Was obviously I wanted to continue the educational part, and I wanted to try and, as you say, that's what I want to just help people, but I don't want to be a marketing guru. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just like, people look at me, I'm not a guru type person. Look at me, I'm like the Irish Jesus. Like, it just doesn't work. Like, I'm not a guru. I don't want to be a guru. I'll never tell you I'm a guru. I'll never pretend to be a guru. But I know from my perspective what I do can help people, and that's all I want to do. So for me, it was trying to work out how I can have that mastermind, build the community, build a funnel in essence, but without going down that route. And I think it took me longer to get this point to kind of now where I have got it drafted and we've got everything planned out and we're about to pull the trigger. But it just took me this much longer because I needed to find what was going to be right. I mean, if people looked at me, people from back home, they looked at me and went, he's a fucking guru. Like, he looks like an idiot. Whereas I know at least what I'm doing now is real. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't be lying. It wouldn't be fake. It's me, and it's what I'm already doing for my clients, is continuing just to benefit that niche of people.
Yeah, man, 100%. Yeah, I think you just got to be yourself at the end of the day. But you can achieve anything if you want to achieve it. But yeah, I hate that whole guru. Like, even that word just makes me cringe. Like, and I think I was the same. I think I didn't want to go down that like agency trainer route. I don't know. I just see so much shit in the industry. It's just a bit depressing. So I think what I really wanted to do is maybe just develop these short courses that can help people. And I'll be honest with you, like, I'm really not that fussed about the money side of things. I know I could probably develop like an agency program like Jordan and sell it for £900, but I don't really want to do that. And I don't know, there's enough free content out there for people to learn how to do that themselves. I think for me, it's maybe just having these short courses on like how to do SEO, and then business owners who can't afford a marketer or can't afford an agency can purchase them for like just a couple of £100, which would be way undervalued, because I'm obviously just going to pour everything I've learned in there over the last 7 years. And I think that's the route I'm going to go down, more of just of a digital marketing training for kind of anyone, rather than being one of those agency gurus.
Because it does piss me off big time. You see it, like, you'll see someone that comes into the marketing scene, start an agency, they have a couple of clients for maybe like 3 months, and then you look at their Instagram and they're a marketing guru, and they're like send DM me to learn, and I'm like, mate, you can't teach no one shit. Like, you've only you haven't even read out your first full contract, son. Like, sit back down. Like, you're not a guru.
It's a difficult one. Yeah, it's really difficult. And I think, and I'll be honest with you, I think Jordan and Iman Gadji, obviously two of the biggest kind of UK agency trainers, they both, I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure in this, they both followed Sam Oven's coaching accelerator course. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. Right. So a lot of people have purchased Sam Oven's course, and then that's basically all about selling, consulting, building like that kind of network and things like that. I know Iman Gadji was definitely on his course because I saw he was at one of his masterminds, and I'm pretty sure Jordan was as well. Obviously, don't quote me on that, but I think what I'm getting at is there's a lot of people just copying that. And that's why you get these people that haven't been doing it long, and they just basically selling these programs. And Jordan did it, and Jordan's amazing. Like, credits to Jordan, he's created an amazing.
Not Jordan, by the way. I will say I'm not talking about Jordan, guys. Right?
I know, but
don't hang me.
I know what you mean. Yeah, there's people out there.
There's other people who are in that space, in that in the Affluent Academy, I think a few people got removed recently, actually,
Oh,
because
really?
they were not reselling affluent stuff, but they were
Mm.
basically repackaging and selling
Oh shit, yeah, I do see a
in
lot
their
of
own
that.
words. So
Yeah.
I think a few people got booted recently, or
Yeah.
shit like
So you just got to be careful. But you're right. I think there's people out there that necessarily that shouldn't necessarily, sorry, be training others, and that's why the industry's been tarnished with that bad brush, I think. And there's
that.
a lot of fake gurus out there,
Yeah,
and I
it's
mean
just
it's the
not
same thing.
real.
No, yeah, and even like I'm kind of even talking about the general marketing side of things. Like the amount of clients that I speak to have been stung by digital marketers, and someone's done a week-long course on Facebook ads. They charge them $2,000, don't get the results, and then they just bugger off. And that's why it's so difficult to close clients sometimes, because they've been stung before and they just don't believe in it. And unfortunately, there's people in all industries like that, but the online guru thing is something that's really come about, and I think that's just because it's so easy for people to do. And I think
Yeah,
Sam Ovens' course has made it easy for people to quickly grow and scale these things. But you
very
just need to be careful.
accessible.
You just need to be careful and do your research. And that's why Jordan smashed it, because he just provides so much value and education for free.
Yeah,
Whereas a lot of people, they just don't do that. You can tell he's genuine
yeah.
geezer. So
And I mean, if you are good at, I mean, if you're good at what you're a guru in, you know, if you are good at health and fitness, if you are a good marketer, if you're proven in that area, then by all means become a guru. You can
yeah,
probably very well teach someone how to be successful in that area. But my problem is with the people who turn up. I mean, I wouldn't pretend to be a marketing guru after a year. Like even I, because it's not real.
I don't think I'd ever consider myself a marketing guru, and I've been doing it 7 years. I think even in
Yeah,
10 years' time, I would never call myself a guru,
yeah.
because
Even
one, I just
Jordan, I
hate
don't
the
think calls
word.
himself a guru.
No, no, exactly. So
So
we should ban that word, man. We should
we
start a
should
petition or
just
something. So
hashtag ban gurus.
yeah, literally. I don't know if you just while we're on this topic, I don't know if you followed. I can't remember his surname. I think is it Mike Winnett? He's on LinkedIn. He does the Entrepreneur series. Where, oh mate, if you haven't
Oh
heard of this,
no,
you
I've
need to
heard
go
the
check this out.
Entrepreneur series, but I didn't know that
Yeah.
was his name.
I think it's Mike Winnett or something like that. He's got a YouTube channel. Just type entrepreneur. I'm pretty sure he trademarked and like bought that term. But he basically goes out, finds these online gurus, and actually does their courses, puts them to the test, and then exposes
Oh
them.
shit.
He basically like he was on a really good podcast. I can't remember what it's called. I'll try, if I remember, I'll message you about it. But Creative Rebels, that's it. So yeah, now everyone on the podcast can go and check that out. Creative Rebels have got an interview with him, and yeah, basically he sold a company for like £1 million, and just uses his free time to expose these gurus now, which I absolutely love, because I think he does expose the people that are out
Awesome.
there who are just scamming people. So yeah, go check him out, man. Just while we're on the subject,
Yeah.
it's cool.
I actually think as well, and this is personal opinion, so other people probably won't have this, but when these people that come into the scene suddenly become a guru, they don't stick around long, a lot of them. Like you find if they come in and they're throwing up YouTube videos here and there, and I'm going to teach you this, I'm going to teach you that, here's my course, they tend to not stick around as long as the people that are just honest and come in and be like, hey, I'm learning this and I want to be successful and I have a real reason why. Like we said, I have a real why and I want to help people. And
Yeah,
then people seem to stick around a lot longer than the people turn up for the money.
yeah, exactly. And this is again the issue with just people, and this is in any industry. I see it a lot in the property industry with these property investor gurus. There's the people that actually care about helping others and just want to provide value, and I guess don't really care about the financial side. But then on the flip side, you've got the people that only care about the money, and they'll smash out a load of content, run all these paid ads, scam a load of people, get them on these crap courses, and then again it just tarnishes the whole industry with a fucking bad brush again, doesn't it? So
100%, 100%. Look, obviously, I want to be very cautious of your time because I know you're a super busy guy this week. But I just wanted to quickly touch on the end here. Obviously, where you have your personal brand, do you run it as a funnel? Is it something? Do you use it to actually generate customers? Is that what your end goal is, or is it to be a subsect where you can have Optic and then, or sorry, you can have ClickScope and then you can have that as a completely separate, or you want to put them as one?
yeah, good question. I'll be honest with you, I haven't really figured it out yet. I think ultimately I just want to keep growing my personal brand, which is why I started my YouTube channel. But even with that, I'm not really sure. Like I'm just putting out digital marketing content for agency owners mainly at the moment. But like I said, I think I want to more just actually go down the digital marketing route at the moment. So yeah, just building the personal brand at the moment. I think that's personally, I think it's the best way to go. People buy from people, not necessarily companies. So yeah, I think ultimately I want to grow my personal brands, and you have that as the kind of customer facing thing, if that makes sense. And then Clickscope is just the agency that I own and run, and do things that way. But yeah, I think personal brand is the big thing. But like a year ago, I would have never even thought of doing that. I've always been like super anxious, not one. I would have never jumped on a podcast with someone a year ago. So I think it's developing. Personally, I'm still developing my own confidence and things like that. But yeah, the personal brand is the goal, and then Clickscope's just going to be the agency thing that I own basically.
I think that's so confusing, isn't it? Like that was my problem as well, especially because I've got like a podcast, and then I've got my agency, and then I've got the content that I put out, but I don't have an agency Instagram, but I have an agency Facebook, and it's just well confused. And I even had to sit down myself one day and just write and be like, right, I need to write this down.
Yeah.
I need to work out what's doing what, because like, and it doesn't help that I put the logos are very bloody similar, does it? Like the trademark brand is basically just the JT in the circle, but for the marketing agency, it's a bit more clean. It's the JT Media Marketing, and then there's the JT, which is the Johnny Thompson, which is, as you would say, the personal brand. But then the place where people get confused and always ask me is the podcast is Project Passion with Johnny Thompson, and that's the personal brand Johnny Thompson. But at the top, there's the little bit that says the little JT Media Marketing logo, but it's only because technically I host the podcast, but my agency produces, promotes it, and distributes it.
Yeah, I think that still works well, man. I think that's still pretty clear.
It's just officially, do you know what I mean? It's me.
Yeah.
I organize it, I host it, I edit it, I promote it, I put it out. But it's just for more the official reason of it. It's the marketing agency has a portfolio now in podcast promotion, mix mastering, video editing, and I have as my personal brand the experience in the portfolio in hosting.
Yeah. And this is the thing as well, like you can easily have your personal brand, and then like that acts as like an umbrella brand, if that makes sense. And then you have other things like your podcast could be not even mention your name in it at all. And the same with the agency, and you could still do well. I think that's the good thing about online. It's easy to, you can land on someone's socials profile and quickly see what they do, like what agency they run or whatever it is, what business they run. So yeah, it's a difficult one, really. I think that's something I'm actually listening to a book at the moment. Let me just get it up so I can remember the name. Key Person of Influence by Daniel Priestley. Really good, man. I'm just listening to it on Audible. It's about growing a personal brand and yeah, being a key person of influence. So that's, I'll be honest with you, something I'm still learning about and developing. But yeah, definitely going down the personal brand route and Clickscope. 100%. I don't know, it might kick off as a brand at some point, but someone mentioned this a while back, like obviously people buy from people. I think that just works a lot better. So I set up an Instagram page for Clickscope ages ago. It was shit, it was dead. I had like 30 followers, whereas my personal brand I've scaled up way quicker. And it's the same when you ask someone to like mention, I don't know, big digital marketers as they know, and then big digital marketing agencies. Most people, 90% of the things they mention will be like Neil Patel, Iman Gadji, there'll be names, whereas no one really knows of like Jellyfish. I mentioned that earlier. They are probably the biggest digital marketing agency in the world. No one really knows them because it's just a brand name, and it's a cool brand name. Jellyfish is wicked, but again, I think personal brand is just the way to go in my opinion.
100%, yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of people struggle because they don't want to do it. Like a lot of people, I think, have that stigma in their head, like I can't do a personal brand. Like no one's going to want to follow me. What content am I going to put out? And I think that's the first hurdle every person needs to get over and just accept.
Yeah, it's difficult. I still struggle with it now. It's like that confidence thing, like being on camera, and things like that. Yeah, there's a lot you need to grow as a person, I think, really. And I think the main thing is just be yourself. Like you said, don't be something that you're not. That's why I've rocked up in a Nike jumper and stuff like that. Like you just need to be yourself, man. And I think that's how a personal brand is successful, is when you're yourself. If you're trying to be something you're not, I think people see straight through that.
Yeah, and if you are using your personal brand to drive, not traffic, but to drive, leads essentially for your business, you're going to get better suited leads if your personal brand is more honest for your socials.
Yeah.
Like I don't Like if you look at my Instagram, you can tell I'm a certain type of person. Like you listen to one of my podcasts, I swear like a drunken sailor.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm just my own personality. Right. But that is because, I mean, there's some sort of clients I probably wouldn't work with because I know I just wouldn't be a good fit with them.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just about to mention, like, if I had someone message me a while back, I think it was about the content they had on their social page, and it was to do with something they were wearing. And I was like, ultimately, if someone doesn't like what you're wearing or is going to judge you for that, you wouldn't want to work with them anyway. And it's like what you said. Ultimately, if someone really cares about you swearing loads, they're probably not going to be a good fit for you anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's just important to be yourself, and you're going to attract those clients that you'll get on with, and hopefully, you know what I mean, not attract those ones that will just be a pain in the ass. So yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying there, man.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, especially marketers, and again, they put themselves in this hole because they want to be a guru, and they then can't physically feel like they can't say they lost a client. Like losing a client's fine. I mean, a lot of the time they probably just weren't a good fit in the first place. Let's be honest. It was just bad qualifying, bad fucking structure. You just didn't find out what you needed to. It went bad. But I think a lot of people are terrified to say that because they think it sounds like a failure. But it's like, businesses pick up clients and drop clients. That's a business.
Exactly. I don't. There won't be any agency out there in the world that has always retained and kept all of its
100%.
clients. No way. Like I'll be willing to bet a lot of money on that. Like everyone loses clients. Sometimes they get people in house. Sometimes they're just not happy with the results. Sometimes you fuck up and you just have to be honest with them and say, look, I fucked up. Here's a refund. Or like you said, let's put the service charge towards some more ads because I know it's going to work. So that huge point there, man. Everyone's going to lose clients, and I think this is the difference, and how this is a whole nother kind of discussion to get into, but there's that whole mental side of being an entrepreneur and the ups and downs and dealing with rejections and losing clients and signing clients. And the other day, it was actually when we were meant to first jump on the podcast. I just had my biggest month ever, so I should have just been happy and celebrating anyway. But then I nearly had this other client sign up, huge payment. They were ready to go. Like he was like, literally, send us the contracts, we'll get it signed. And then 2 weeks had gone. I was chasing them up. They still hadn't done it, and even today, they still haven't paid. But they've explained why. But it's those like up and down roller coaster situations that you've got to deal with. 100%. And losing clients is definitely one of them. So.
Yeah, but I mean, the same ups and downs that we're doing this for, isn't it? I mean, you can't do this for the long haul if you don't just enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's everyday life, man. You can't have the highs without having the lows. So it's just part of it. But it's just, I think it takes a certain person to be an entrepreneur because you have to deal with that mental side. When you're working a full-time job, you can just rock up, do the work, go home. You've got that security. Yeah, whereas it's a completely different ball game when you're running your own business.
Nice. Well, look, I have just checked the time and realized.
Yeah, man. Jesus.
What time it is. So do you want to finish up? Just obviously, hopefully, guys have got a lot of value in this. Do you want to just kind of drop some last minute little hints, tips, anything like that there?
So just quickly, I won't go into too much detail on this, but I think one thing for anyone out there, like just create your why. Like, what do you want to do with your life? I think I didn't touch on this at all today, but a huge thing that really hit home for me is like we've been born into like the best period of life in terms of 100%. The year we're in. We've got access to the internet. 40, 50 years ago, the stuff that we're able to do now was not achievable. And I know there's a lot of shit stuff, a lot of shit things that are going on in the world right now, but we have ultimately been born into like the best period of time. You can literally do anything you want. So I think anyone out there listening, work out what you want to do, what you're passionate about, and just go and do it. Just go for it. That'll be kind of my takeaway for today. Just go and smash life because it's going to fly around, and you don't want to be one of those people that gets to 40 years old and looks back and thinks, fuck, I have done fuck all the last 40 years, and you have one of their midlife crises. So that's my little nugget for today.
Yeah, 100%. As Gary Vee said one time, the biggest thing you find when you speak to people in their 80s and their 90s, the biggest thing they talk to you about is regret and just the shit that they can't do now. When you're 80, you can't go start a business. When you're 80, you can't go do the things you want to do. And I'm pretty sure that's actually a word for word, a direct quote there, actually, I've just given. But
100%, man.
But you're right, man, 100%. If you want to, you got to go out there and do it. You're living in the best generation you could have ever fucking lived in. Anything is possible. You write your own story. We are all making it up as we go along. Adults are not always that smart. just keep in your head your why. Know why you want to be successful, know why you want to do what you do, and know why you're doing it and the reasons, and have good reason behind it. And go out there and be successful. Go kick ass and take names. Get it done.
And don't just look at financial gains, because like I said earlier, you will hit that financial mark and it won't be good enough. You'll always look at the next step up. And you know what I mean? It's great to be well off and earning a good wage, but you need to find like that true fulfillment in life by impacting others, whatever it might be. I think anyone out there, just go and try and work out what that might be, whether it's helping others, I don't know, buying your mum, retiring your mum, buying her a house. There's loads of things like that. But I think, yeah, just work out your why and how you're going to achieve it, and then just go for it, man.
Just work on the value you can give to other people, not the value other people can give to you. Work out what you can actually give to the people around you. And trust me, good energy comes back. I mean, it really does. Good energy is a bitch like that. But look, awesome. Anything else from you then, Sam, man?
No, I think that's it, to be honest. But if anyone's got any questions, you can find me on social media, Instagram and YouTube. I'm under Sam Darcy Digital. LinkedIn, just Sam Darcy. I'm sure you'll find me if you drop me a search, and happy to answer any questions that anyone's got. So yeah.
Nice. And of course, guys, same as always anyway, you will have seen Sam's social handle up on the screen at the start anyway. Same as usual, it will all be below. I'll have his YouTube link. I'll put your Instagram, website. If he has a link, it'll be down there. You can find it. Go check him out. If you want to ask any questions about anything we talked about, please, as he says, get in touch with him, get in touch with me, ask the questions. I know there's usually a couple of people always hit me with some questions after these marketing type ones. But yeah, same as always, guys. If you have enjoyed the podcast, please go across, hit like, hit subscribe if you're watching this. If you're just listening to it, hit follow. If you want to leave a review, I appreciate it. And yeah, let me know what things you guys actually want to see. Now we're kind of kicking it back up again. I know a lot of you guys were wanting more marketing, and I know a lot of people in the space were waiting to actually hear Sam on the podcast. So now we've done this, let me know what you want next. I mean, I can pretty much put out videos and podcasts whenever I want now. Now I've got the studio, now I've got the office. So let me know what you want. I want to try and get some weird people in. Not weird. I want to get some authors and stuff like that.
We can do a weird podcast if you want, man. I'll be well up for that.
Yeah. Perfect. But yeah, guys, that's it for this week. Same as always. Love and appreciate you. Have a good week, and I will catch you later.
Hello guys, how you doing? It's me, Jack, mate. You've just finished watching probably one of the best videos on YouTube. So why not take a moment to consider subscribing? And if you haven't already, hit the like button and turn the notification bell on. Apparently it helps. I don't know how. It was good to know, wasn't it?